lunch, so her friends won't know she doesn't have anything to eat. I am the 97 American children who struggle with hunger. Kids you pass by every day, but never knew were hungry. I am child hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
The following programming is sponsored by Thomas Toole III. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group.
Good afternoon, Greater Philadelphia area. This is Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. Sarah Timon's back. Everyone's excited. We both work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline, the number one RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we have got a question about inventory. It looks like we might exceed pre-pandemic inventory in 2026. Breakdown of all the forecasts for 2026, including a local one for the greater Philadelphia area. And there are a ton of new local restaurants opening. We're going to talk about which ones we're most excited about. So if you get some value out of this, you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to schedule a call with our team and Sarah specifically, you can do that with the link in the comments. So welcome back, Sarah. I think everyone's excited that you're here. Nick said that when we were setting this up. How are things going? I mean, you got a newborn at home, not so new anymore. I've got to meet the little guy. Very cool. How's it been adjusting? I mean, I think it's always tough. This is your second kid, so I think it's probably a little easier, I would imagine. I mean, it's easier for me, but I'm the dad. It's way harder for the mom.
Yeah, no, he's been awesome. We've been chugging along here. My 4.5-year-old, I think, is a little bit more into him now that he's kind of doing a little bit more. When we first brought him home, even though we had warned her that like brand new babies don't do much, I think she was a little underwhelmed by what all he was up to. So yeah, we're chugging along.
Well, I think, the first few months, they don't really do a whole lot. So you're absolutely right. So it's only going to get crazier from here, but we are glad to have you back. It's good seeing you here. So enough of that. I mean, we talk frequently. So let's talk about this inventory article from Lance Lambert. I find this very interesting because I know you ran into this a lot. I mean, inventory has been a big talking point ever since you've really gotten started in real estate. Has that been a big complaint for a lot of home buyers you worked with? What's the mood been about inventory over the past 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think inventory is something that typically comes up most of the time when you're out there on the search. What's a little tricky to know though, sometimes, like, yes, that definitely can be a factor, but especially with new home buyers, they may be saying inventory, but it could also just be kind of like wrapping their head around like the whole process, what they can afford. And even if there were more properties out there, similar to what we've been looking at, would it be something else? In some cases, probably yes, but absolutely yes, inventory has been an ongoing topic.
Well, there's something you said there that's pretty interesting because a lot of times buyers don't really know what they want when they get started anyway. So they may think there's no inventory until they figure out what they want, and then they can zone in on that a little bit, which is probably the case for people that end up buying homes over the past 5 years. There's no question we're coming off one of the lowest inventory levels that we've seen in a very long time, where inventory really, kind of bottomed out in 2021, 2022. And now the projections are, and Lance Lambert at Resi Club did a nice job with this. He's one of the better economists around there when you look at specific housing data. And he talked to a couple different people. There was Bright MLS, which I'm most interested in because that's the local one, Lisa Sturdivant, the chief economist. She's forecasting a 10.9% increase in inventory. And Bright is, last year, they predicted a 12.8% increase, which is pretty right on. You got Mike Simonson, who was formerly with Altos Research. He's now with Compass. He's predicting a 10% bump in inventory. Danielle Hale, the chief economist at Realtor.com, she's predicting 8.9%. So overall, the three forecasts are a 9.93% increase in inventory in 2026. So that's going to get us, if you look at the data, right around 2019 levels. Now, in the Northeast, it's obviously a lot less than other parts of the country. If you look at the heat map, you're seeing growth pretty much everywhere except like Chicago and kind of that like northeastern section. There's like almost like a gulf of lower inventory, and then the Sun Belt, the South, the West, they're having higher inventory growth. So if that happens, what do you think that does to the market locally here if we do see a 10% bump in homes for sale? Because that like you said, it's always a talking point for people that are out there looking.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just brings more options to buyers, maybe makes buyers feel, I don't want to say a little bit more in control in the process, but it gives them more to look at. It gives them more of like a spread for what they're willing to take in a property, what they're willing to put into a property, and it just gives them some more options. Because also, when we talk about inventory going up, it has to be the right inventory. Because if a ton of inventory comes to the market, but none of it is in the school district that you need to be in, or the house style just isn't matching, the fact that there's more inventory, well, it could pull some buyers that would be looking at the same house as you towards some other ones, which could make competition go down to some degree on the homes that fit. Overall, that doesn't do you a ton of good, because it's all individual when it comes to like you as the buyer. But certainly having that increase come in is just going to give more options.
It is very relative, and more options are a good thing. I think at least you can show people options. But even in high inventory markets, I mean, I've seen people, they look at 15, 20 homes, and they have a hard time finding what they're looking for. So, agents have to be careful just saying, hey, there's more inventory. What are you waiting for? I think that's the expectation sometimes. And what a good agent does, they'll go deeper on, hey, like, tell me specific bedrooms, bathrooms. You mentioned school district. Think about all like the different elementary schools in the school district sometimes. Like that can really be a target for a lot of buyers. So more options are a good thing. I love what you said there. The forecast, just to give you an idea for the Philadelphia metro area, because we want to talk local here. So the actual number of inventory, new inventory that came to the market. So this is Chester, Delaware, Bucks County, Philadelphia, a couple counties in South Jersey, and then the two northern counties in Delaware. So they're calling this the Philadelphia metro area that Bright MLS covers. There was 9,361 new homes that came to the market. The forecast in 2025 was 11,002 new homes, and that number. Let me get the actual number here. See how close it was. I don't know if we got the December data yet because it's the 6th, but they Bright forecasted a bump there, and now next year, or this year, I should say, it's already 26. 12,918 new homes that come to the market, and they're predicting quite a large bump, a 17.4% bump in inventory in 2026. What do you think about that local forecast?
I mean, that seems high, but I guess depending on how accurate they were for the forecast for last year, for 2025, again, overall that number is a little bit surprisingly high to me, but I think that there has been an ongoing shift in the market in terms of like just getting out of the lock-in effect, having different like milestones hit where it no longer makes sense to stay in the home that you had been in, which does, bring things to the market. And now being our 6 years out of
that's wild.
Everything. It's a lot can happen in 6 years. So
a lot can happen in 6 years. Think about what you were doing 6 years ago. I mean, it's pretty wild. So if you look at the numbers, so year to date in 20, and this is through the month of November, so we don't have the final December numbers yet. The number of active listings grew 7.8%. So that was, and new listings were up 2.2%. Now new listings can be a little misleading, but they're saying there was that kind of jump in inventory. So it was a little light. I mean, 17% seems like a lot. I don't know that that's, I think that it'd be great. I think that would unlock a lot of options. Mm-hmm. We're still if you look at the Philadelphia suburbs right now, we're at a 1.7 month supply of homes on the market. So that would still not get us into a buyer market. I want to be very clear. I think that's a little aggressive. If we saw like 10, 12% more inventory come to the market, I think that's probably realistic. When you look at these numbers, they do look a little inflated there. And I don't know that this year is going to be much different than last year. So if that, let's say that number is right, which I don't agree with, do you think that's going to create some uncertainty in the market? I mean, because that's a little higher than even the national expectations that they're talking about here for Philadelphia. And Lisa Sturdivant is also the same person doing these forecasts, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that it would create uncertainty. I think that when things happen gradually, I feel like people tend to feel more comfortable with it. Even if it's like you end up at the same end place.
Mhm.
Like if it happens like a little bit at a time, I think where people get a little nervous is when suddenly it's different
Yeah.
and it's like extremely different. So I guess it would kind of depend on how it plays out over the course of the year. But I don't I don't know that it would necessarily create uncertainty because we've got so many people who have been waiting and looking and either actively trying to get into homes or like they've been wanting to like start the search but just didn't feel right about the
Mhm.
situation or their personal finances or where they were at. So I think that there's going to be people that are going to want to take advantage of that if that is accurate.
Yeah, and when you look at, and we're going to get into the overall predictions for 2026 here in a second, but when you look at what Bright's predicting versus some of the other economists that are out there, I mean, you can look at just home sales, right? They're on the more bullish end where they're predicting way more home sales than a lot of other places. Danielle Hale on Realtor.com pretty much got the numbers right for 2025. And her predictions and Realtor.com's predictions are a lot less. Now that's nationally, so you got to be careful there because there's so many different markets.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I'm clear on is the market's not going to save you here. So if you're hoping and like crossing your fingers, there's 20% more homes or 17% more homes coming to the market, I'd be very careful if I'm a consumer thinking that the market's going to solve my problems because there's so many variables there, and that's probably not realistic. You mentioned the lock-in effect. We're seeing that the average outstanding mortgage rate right now is 4.4%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still very real. Now, over 20% of the homes out there have a 6% or higher interest rate. So that's eased a lot. So that's going to create some more potential sellers. They're not worried about trading up. And I do think the inventory growth is going to be gradual, not so much like all of a sudden there's all these homes for sale. That's just not going to work that way. So I'm a little skeptical of Bright's numbers here. And I would say they're probably going to come in under that. If they do come in over, I think that's great. But there's a lot of people that are still locked in. I mean, when I'm having these conversations, and you know, the folks you have that are, I know you're kind of getting back in the swing of things here, but the folks you have looking, I mean, you work with very long-term clients all the time, and it's usually like a year or 18 months out before they actually want to do anything.
Oh, yeah,
so talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think going into this is a huge financial investment for anyone to make. So I often start my conversations with my clients. I mean, I find out like where they're at, what their motivation is. Do they have a timeline? Like, is there something that needs to happen immediately? And, you know, if there is, and there's like a big sense of urgency on it, then like we make sure to do what we can to hit those dates. But I let people know at the beginning that it often takes a bit of time. So like, what are the things that we can get out of the way initially so that we know that we're kind of focusing on the right stuff? One of those things would be having those early conversations with a lender just to find out, you know, what it is that they like, what their situation is, and are there certain things that need to happen for them on the financial side that maybe they weren't aware of, stuff that needs to be like cleared off from their credit, stuff that can take, it's not just like a snap of a finger. It takes time to have those things worked out. So kind of getting them set up on those like early conversations. And then I also typically like to start broad with, you know, like let's check out a couple different styles of places and a couple different locations. If they're not like, it has to be exactly this. Because again, a lot of people don't know what they want, and they have to see different types of homes in different conditions and kind of see what their money can get them. And kind of work from there. And that can take a while to narrow down and kind of pinpoint on what exactly it is that you're looking for.
Well, and you know what you're doing there, and this is what you should be looking for in an agent if you're listening. You have no expectation of like immediate business. It's like, let me help you. Let me educate you. And that works so well. I mean, I think of many clients we've worked with mutually. I mean, it's like a couple years in the making. Yeah. We were talking about a client. I mean, I think it's close to like a decade in the making. And that's okay. And I think that's how you really guide people when they have these big financial decisions. So I think that's really smart. And that's really what I'd be looking at here. Don't get caught up in how many more new homes are going to be on the market. It's when's the right home going to be on the market? And that's the question you really want to ask yourself as a buyer. So let's look at these forecasts here. I'll just break these down for you, Sarah, and you can tell me what you think of them because there's a wide range. So again, Lance Lambert does a really nice job with this because it shows you what everyone's thinking, not just what one are. And really, there's a couple big forecasts. It's how many home sales in 2026, where mortgage rates are going to be in 2026, and what people are thinking in terms of, but really just like existing home sales is what we're talking about. So we're coming off another low level year in 2025 where we're expected it's going to be like around like 4.13 million homes that sold. It was actually a little less than 24, more than 23. So there's all these forecasts that are out there, and they're ranging anywhere from 3.91 million home sales to 4.6 million home sales. The average would be 4.28. There's a lot of folks kind of grouped in that like 4.25, 4.3 range when you look at this. What do you think of the accuracy of these? I mean, are because you get below 4.2 and there's only a couple out of the 18. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 people predicting 4.2 million sales or less. It's Redfin, the Yale School of Management, Realtor.com, Goldman Sachs, and Hunter Housing Economics. Is the majority right here, or are there going to be less sales? What's your observation there, Sarah?
I think the majority is going to be right. I think that we're going to be, I think we're going to definitely be above 4 million. I think that we're going to go above the 4.13 that we saw for 2025, but I don't think we're going to be up here at this like highest number of 4.6. That seems like a pretty big jump. So I would say that I think like the 4.3 targeting right around there kind of makes sense.
And I think that's a reasonable assessment here. I mean, the 4.6 million from NAR to me is ludicrous because, I mean, they would have to predict rates would really have to come down for that to happen. Most people are predicting, I mean, rates are coming in today like 6.25, 6.3, and most people are predicting like 6.1 by the end of the year. So you'd really have to see rates come down below 6. So I don't know that makes a lot of sense there. I don't know that we're going to hit 4.3. I think it's going to be slightly under that. We're going to be closer to like 4.25, maybe 4.2. And the reason for that is I just don't think this year is going to be that much different. And there's a lot of uncertainty with what's going to be happening with the Federal Reserve. They're going to have a new chairman. Who knows how that goes? Mm-hmm. Right now, if you look at what the Fed's planning to do with the next meeting in 22 days, it's over an 80% chance they're not going to do anything with rates. Not that they set the interest rates, but I think there's some questions about how strong the job market really is. Especially around inflation. I mean, they're calling it an 81.7% chance we don't see anything happen at the next meeting that's going to be happening on January 28th. And then we don't have another meeting until March. So I don't think that's going to really get any traction here. And, I look at our market. I mean, there's so many people that it's got to be the absolute right house, but there's going to be a lot of competition for that at the same time. Yep. Now, that's not the case in a lot of other places, but other places have really inflated inventory. So I just don't know that we're going to see that kind of bump here.
Right.
Mortgage rates I want to talk to you about because that's something that I know it's not on here, but there's ranges. Right now we're seeing like 6.2, 6.3. According to Mortgage News Daily, rates are at 6.2% right now on a 30-year fixed. And this is the lowest levels we've seen in 3 years. The range of predictions are anywhere from 5.9 up to 6.3. Where do you think rates end the year? What's your observation there when it comes to mortgage rates?
Wait, that's where the range is for what they're predicting.
What they're going to be at the end of the year, not the average, but where they're going to be at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think from what I've seen for recent rates and for what is kind of anticipated for coming up, I mean, I think that, yeah, that number, I think that number makes sense. I think having that little bit of a range in there is good, but yeah, I don't see them suddenly being well below there or really well above there. But I mean, there's a lot going on. So we'll have to see so many things kind of can go into factoring into all of this. But I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah. And I don't, I think they're going to actually hang around where they are. I don't think they're going to drop down too much because even though the government and the federal government's been like adamant, like they want rates to come down, like that's clear. They can't control that. And the job market's very funny right now where these jobs being created. I mean, there's a lot of people that are like working like multiple jobs. So I think it's like kind of like some false numbers here. Inflation, if you took out some of the factors because they're using that owner's equivalent rent, which is like a very antiquated way to determine what it's like the hypothetical. If you and your husband were to rent out your home, what could you rent it for?
Mhm.
Numbers meaningless because
Yeah.
it's not happening, right?
Right.
That'd be like I wouldn't do that either. That's how they determine rent. It's the hypothetical rent you could ask.
Okay.
But that would mean there's more rentals flooded on the market, so you probably see that number come down. That's how they look at inflation. So I think the inflation numbers are probably closer to 2% than they realize because of the antiquated measurements that exist. So I don't know that I think we're going to see the same rate basically all year. I mean, I just don't. I think it's going to be right around that like 6.3% range. I don't think we're going to get much movement, which is fine. I think
Right.
that's actually stability would be a good thing here, because if that happens, I think we're in pretty good shape. So I think that's that's my read on this here. I'd love to see 5.9. I think that'd be awesome. I just
Mhm.
don't know how realistic it is.
Right.
The last number I want to go over with you. So again, this isn't in the article. I did just source some own stuff, so you don't feel like you need to look at it.
Okay.
Average home price appreciation, and this is nationally. We're seeing anywhere from 2 to 3%. So where do you think that number is going to come in? I mean, do you think it's going to be higher, lower? Is that right on the money? I mean, obviously this is market by market. So what's your observation there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that in our local market, it'll actually be a little bit higher than that, which is stable, healthy, and fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're going to be more like the 5%.
That's a good number.
Which is a really good number. It's it's not well above where it's like healthy and safe
Mhm.
and sustainable. It's a good amount to be getting in there for your equity and for your appreciation. So I think around here we're going to be more like 5%.
I agree with some of the neighborhoods that we sell in, that we live in. I think you're going to see those neighborhoods really pop up a little bit. The average forecast. This is for Brighton. It's the median, which I don't like the median. They're predicting 2.8%, but remember that includes parts of Jersey and Delaware. So those markets are and Philadelphia, so drastically different. Even though it's in like the metro area,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't have a license in either of those states, right? I mean, we have team members that do that, but even if you talk to the folks that are in like Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania, it's very different. Even the city market compared to the suburban market. So I tend to agree with you locally. We're probably going to see 5+% in the suburbs. I'd imagine we're going to see even a higher number just because we don't have the inventory. Like
Right.
I think people are really underestimating what's going to happen with inventory, and that's the reality of this. So. Looking at all that, Sarah, as we kind of wrap up here before we get into some of this local stuff happening, we know there's not going to be any Fed movement. I mean, I would be shocked if there was. Someone that's maybe been holding off on buying a home, or they're thinking about it, they're in the early stages. This is that planning time of year. What advice do you have for those folks if they're trying to figure out if it's even the right decision for them? What would you tell them?
Well, I mean, I think like the first thing to ask, regardless of what's going on in the market and where it's predicted to go, is, like, why is it that you want to move? What is the reason for the move, and kind of figuring that out. And then, just kind of going back to the process, and then kind of as a reassurance for this year, we're not expecting a ton of like jumps and drops in rates. We're kind of expecting things to be like even keel. So like, let's run the numbers the way that they are now, and like kind of plan on them staying a bit similar. We know inventory is coming up. That doesn't mean wait to get out there. Start the process. I mean, obviously, if you're like in no way ready and you can't make any offers, that's like a little bit of a gray area, because you don't want it to be a situation where you bring clients out, they find the perfect home, but they're still a few months away from being able to actually make the offer, right? So, but overall, I tend to like people to kind of like get out there. Let's start looking at things. Let's start figuring out what it is that you like, narrowing down, and then that way when the right one comes up, we kind of have those pieces in place. And when you don't have a ton of instability in the market, when things are kind of even keel for the most part, people feel a lot less panicked, or like, wait, but if I do it now, what if next week it's completely different, So it just makes people feel a little bit calmer about what's going on.
Well, think about the stability now versus the volatility like 2 years ago when rates were all like every week rates were going up a quarter of a point, a half a point. They hit 8% at one point in October of 2023, and that threw people for a loop. And it was they were in and out all the time, which that's not a good decision making environment. So it's a really great observation on your part, and it's really like you got to figure out what's right for you first and foremost, and even. There's no harm in going to see what's out there. I think that's actually the mistake a lot of people make is they make a decision before they even explore their options fully.
Right. And a lot of times people end up getting something a little bit different than what they initially described was going to be the house at the beginning. So not that you want to be running around to look at everything that doesn't at all meet your parameters, because that's a waste of time for everybody. Nobody wants to do that. But maybe being open-minded to looking at a couple different types of things as you work your way through the process to figure out what does because ultimately a lot of times it comes to, not in every case, but it usually comes down to dollars, right? So like, what does your money get you in different situations? And like, how can you make the house that you end up getting be the right one, whether it already is, or it needs a little bit of stuff to get there, but you factor that into your budget. So
that's a great point you bring up. In some neighborhoods, it makes sense to add on. If there's other homes like that, like you don't want to ever be the biggest home on the block, but if there's other, like there's some neighborhoods, around where you live, where people like they just put a second floor on all the homes. It happens all the time. You see that happen constantly. So I think that's really great advice. If you're thinking about selling, the number one thing is where are you moving to? Right. And if you don't have a place to move to, and it doesn't, or maybe it's like getting too financially exhausting for you to maintain the property, you can't keep up with. Those are the reasons you want to start thinking about it. But then you got to figure out like, where am I going? Because if you don't have a place to go, then none of this really matters. Like you could talk about the market all you want, but it doesn't really matter. Right. So lot to unpack there. We got to focus on your needs first. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and there are a ton of new restaurant openings. And also, I don't know if you saw this story about the AC Expressway. This is very interesting. I ran into this over the weekend unknowingly. So we'll talk about all this stuff next on Toole Time, Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
If you're looking for a mortgage in the greater Philadelphia area, and by that I really mean Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware.
I didn't mean to hit your foot there. Sorry.
All good.
Look no further.
So you got some fly kicks on. I don't want to mess them up.
Cross Country Mortgage. We are local, Pennsylvania.
Aren't they also? Did this article also talk about? Are they like clocking you from when you enter and when you exit?
I think that is happening in some places. I didn't know about this when we went. Leo wanted to go see the Stranger Things finale. We had to go to like the movies. It was in like Warrington.
Yeah.
I took Turnpike. I'm like, thank God I got an easy pass because there's no way to like I would have been. Totally screwed.
We went to
no pre-planning on my part whatsoever.
Right. We went to Ocean City for New Year's Eve, and
that is so fun down there.
Yeah,
I'm jealous you guys went.
Yeah, that was good. But my Eric's aunt, I guess, had said prior to us going, like, hey, I think they like I don't know if it started yet, but they're now going to clock like from where you enter.
Those other ones don't have like the. I mean, I've taken that exit many times, and it's like it's not the slow ones. You just go right through.
Right.
People go fast on the way down. Like it's
right.
It's nerve wracking. I get more nervous when I'm driving with the kids than when it's by myself.
Yeah. We did when like New Year's Day.
You guys jump in the ocean?
I didn't, but Kristen did, and her husband Joe did, and James, he's like 9. They all.
I would have done that. I told Bryn was like, I would have done that. And I'm like, I know you would have.
Oh my God, no. Well, Joe and Eric. Oh my God, yes. Like Joe and Eric did the 5K, and then there was like I don't know, maybe a half an hour in between them finishing that and like the polar plunge. Because Eric was like, I feel like if it would have been right when I finished the run, I could have like run in and done it. But like the
time is always finishes and just runs right.
Right. Yeah.
There was a lot of people there though. Like,
there were a lot of people. I was like surprised.
We used to go down there when the kids were younger, and then now it's like it's like tough because they're like all over, they're like on top of each other and like
becoming a real estate agent in the greater Philly area.
I was like, there were all different ages of people running in there.
I wish we would have gone. We really wanted to see that though. That's like a one-time thing. So we just got hanging out with me all together.
Did you guys stay around here for New Year's?
Yeah, I drove to Warrington to go see the Stranger Things finale.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was like row 2. I woke up at midnight to buy these freaking things, and then the website crashed, and I'm like, great. So I get back up at 7.
We offer
or
proven
whatever it
systems
was,
expert
and then
training.
I got
We
him.
help you set
Took
more
rope 2 to get
appointments
there.
and sell more
I'll show you
houses.
the picture. Actually,
Now here's the offer.
It's horrible.
If you don't have a real estate
Luckily,
license
someone didn't
yet,
show up
we
when we
offer
snuck
real
back and got their
estate
seats, which was
scholarships.
like,
Oh, 'cause you're like too close, and like it was like
Sarah, this was-
vertical.
That's how close we were.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm like, Leo,
This is not good. I've never
there was
watched
people
Stranger
dressed
Things.
up in like costumes and stuff there. Like, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just like never watched Stranger Things. I'm kind of I feel like that could be a good one for me to just like get into.
You would like it. I
start
mean,
watching.
he wanted to watch it, so that was like the coolest thing. And he's like, "Dad, we got to do this." And I'm like, "I'm all in."
Yeah.
We got home at like 11, and I was up so late. Because Brent's like, "We're gonna celebrate New Year's." It was like 1:30 in the morning. I was like, "God, I gotta go to sleep."
Yeah. Well, we let them.
Talk to you all day here. All right. Welcome back to Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Timon. We both work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And there are some incredible restaurant openings coming up in 2026. We're going to talk about some of our favorites here. And if you got plans to go down the shore, I know that kind of calms down a little bit. We were just talking about how New Year's is kind of the last hurrah down there. You might need to get an easy pass. We'll explain. So if you get some value out of this or you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to schedule a call with our team and talk about real estate and Sarah specifically, you can do that with the link in the comments. So Sarah, there's a ton of new restaurants opening here in 2020. There's more than 40 of them that are open. That's incredible. It's a ton of them here. I picked out a couple that I'm really excited for. We can kind of go through some of these here. Anything that sticks out to you right away? Because, I mean, I love supporting local businesses. I think there's a lot of great spots here, but a lot of people don't even know about them or talk about them.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of them is one that you like individually tagged there for
Yes.
Johnny's Pizza, opening up a new location in Wayne. That is very exciting. So honestly, that's not like a very exciting answer, but that might be the one that I would be the most excited for, just because that's, you order pizza not that we're ordering pizza all the time or getting cheesesteaks or hoagies all the time,
Yeah.
but if we're ordering out, that's like an easy one to do. So having a new spot would be great.
Well, it's close to you, which is awesome.
Yes.
I mean, the other one in Bryn Mawr is close to me. And the last time we ordered from there, it was actually a mutual friend of ours and client. We were heading over their place and they had some big Halloween party. No one ever brings food to these things. And I had to call 28 times just to get through and place the order in the morning for the Bryn Mawr location, which means they're doing well. We've had John on the show here. And David Archer actually is friends with John, believe it or not. So that's a little known fact from our team. So we've got a couple connections there. I mean, that place has gotten rave reviews since we've had him on, and it wasn't because of us, obviously. It's because the pizza's good. And the Bryn Mawr location, they have an old school Mortal Kombat video game there, which is great. And the cheesecakes, I mean, those things are like, they are monsters. Like you could eat that all weekend. So I'm excited for them, just that there's another location opening, because that means they're doing well. And there's not a lot of the main line could use a little shot in the arm when it comes to restaurants. I feel like there's you could see some more places opening there. So super excited for Johnny and he actually is like a Brooklyn trained pizza maker, which is pretty cool. So that's going to be a great one. There's a couple others here I wanted to talk about. So you remember Devon Seafood on Rittenhouse Square?
Yeah.
So apparently that place is closed. That was like one of my favorite spots to go. My cousin would want to go there all the time. He used to work at 18th and Arch. And Steven Starr is opening a restaurant there, which always gets me excited. I mean, that they closed on January 1st of last year, and it's been vacant all year. And that was open since like 1999. So that was kind of sad to see that go. So, and obviously he's got Park, like right down the street. So I'm not sure exactly what they're opening there, but they're going to be opening a restaurant there, which I'm pretty. I'm sorry, it's an Italian version of Park. I don't know what it's going to be called, Borromini. Like that, I think that space should be occupied all the time. Like I mean, anything vacant on Rittenhouse Square isn't great. I'd love to tell you. I mean, like Steven Starr always does a great job. I mean, he's got so many great spots across the entire metro area, even down the shore.
Yeah. No, that's exciting. And like when you're in such a hot spot like that and there's a large space that's just vacant for that long, it's sad.
It is, and that's like one of those destination restaurants. I mean, Park's another one that's right there, so I think that's really good. I'm glad to see that just getting filled up. There's also, have you tried this Wonder Place? This has
Yes.
gotten. What did you think about that? There's been mixed reviews about Wonder, so I'm curious what you think about it.
So it was good. I mean, I think it allows you, like, if you are ordering in and you've got people that are looking for a couple different types of food, I
Mhm.
think that it kind of solves that issue. I often have technical problems, so I feel like my husband had to do like that. We were trying to like use a coupon code where if I like did it through, like if I opened a new account and it like didn't work. But
Everyone was texting those things. I got like 5 people sent me
Mhm.
one of those coupon codes, so
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
But we have ordered from there at least once, maybe twice, and it was good.
The thing, I think you hit the nail on the head with this. We haven't ordered from there. My son's my friend of mine and my son's baseball coach has, and like they can never get along on a meal.
Yeah.
Wait till your kids get older. This is what's going to happen to you.
Right,
You don't just tell them what you're getting. They're like, I want this, I want that.
No,
so
it's already happening at my house.
it gets better. Let me tell you. But I think for that kind of family, I think that's actually pretty appealing because like sometimes I want to get like, kids eat pizza all the time, right?
Mhm.
And I'm especially after the holidays, I'm like, man, I feel like a fatso. I need to eat something a little healthy. I think there is some merit to that, and they've got locations. There's one in Ardmore, one in Westchester, one in Newtown Square. There's one opening in King of Prussia.
I think it's already opened.
I think it might be. Yeah, it
'Cause
did.
I think that's where
It did just
Yeah.
open. You're right. And and they've got some they've got like Bobby Flay dishes there and stuff like that. So I think there is something to that for the right people. I mean, you can tell a lot of it's going to be frozen. I'd be careful what you order from there. I think might be
Yeah.
the way to go. So
Yeah.
I think that's going to be good. There's also another spot in Wayne opening up. Let me see what this was here. Hold on. So it's going to be Testarossa. And this is a casual American Italian restaurant at 523 West Lancaster Avenue. It's going to be where Bertucci's used to be in Wayne. So I think and that's like the White Dog Cafe. It's the same restaurant group.
Mhm.
And again, that's another spot. It's like right there. I don't know how you have that even like vacant. I mean, it's so I think that's exciting to see.
Wait, is that one that's already opened? No, or that one's coming.
I think it's let me see here. You know what? It's already open in Wayne, and they're opening in Glen Mills this summer. I misread the article here. So, or no, it's in Glen Mills, and it's opening in Wayne.
Oh, okay.
And these are the same people that own like Triple Crown. I've heard that's incredible at the Radnor
yeah.
Hotel. So, White Dog is one of my favorite spots to go to. So I think
We went to White Dog for Christmas Eve dinner this year. Rather that like family was coming into town, and rather
that's
than
a power move instead of dealing with making the whole meal
Right,
because
'cause,
I
like,
did that and it was miserable.
Yeah, we've always like cooked and everything, and then this year we were like, let's go out. We did White Dog. It was amazing.
That's a nice location there too. We should do that next year. There's no way
Oh,
my kids
so
are going to
good.
agree to this. See, this is what I'm talking about. You have younger kids, just tell them what's going on. That's incredible. That's a great move. That's a power move. I like that. So another great spot coming to the main line, which I like. There's also Punch Buggy Brewing is opening a tap room in Spring City in the first quarter, and there's a Napa Kitchen and Wine coming to Ella's Preserve in Newtown Square. Have you been to Ella's Preserve before? Like besides just driving by it?
Wait, I'm trying to think.
This is like where the Whole Foods is in Newtown Square. Like it's that new shopping. It kind of open. There's a Ruth Chris back there.
Yeah. So now I know what you're talking about, but I haven't.
I drive by there 5 days a week, 4 days a week.
Yeah.
They've done a horrible job advertising that because there is like coffee spots. There's a Ruth Chris back there, which immediately got my attention. We've had like team events at like the La Scalas. It used to be the I forget what it was called, Fire Point or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great spot back there because that's like a dead zone where you go from like Westchester basically into like there's like nothing there. And I think there's a lot of people that live there because they're a lot of our clients.
Yeah.
I think that's going to do really well. I'm excited to see that for sure. I mean, and Napa Kitchen and Wine, like you look at the pictures, they got like wine on draft. You've had wine on draft before?
Yeah,
Well, I know you prefer it out of the box, but wine,
that kind of is draft.
well, the draft wine I think is actually pretty tasty because it aerates it a lot more and it's pretty. But you got to go somewhere to get it. I mean, I don't know many people that have that at home. So
right.
So that's pretty cool, and it's a big spot. So I think there's a lot of great places that are opening up here, and I mean, there's another Nudies that's going to be opening in Willow Grove. I mean, a lot of great restaurants to check out. The Philadelphia Business Journal did a nice job putting all this together. And then also, did you hear about this one? This is close to you as well. Charles Barkley's opening a steakhouse at the Valley Forge Casino.
I saw that. Yeah, that'll be cool.
Have you been to the casino?
To that casino, I
No.
have, I have been.
I've never been. I've been there when it was the convention center, but the renderings look like pretty incredible there, and I think it's going to be on like the rooftop, which is even cooler.
Oh,
So,
that's neat.
it's I mean they could probably something like that. I think would actually attract more people there because a casino is going to get there's certain kinds of people that want to go to a casino and not.
Sure.
If you bring people in with these high end restaurants, that's always a big attractor to me. I think that's actually a pretty nice thing to have. Right, and it's a great spot. I mean, King of Prussia is like booming now with all these restaurants compared to like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
A lot of good spots, Sarah. So you're checking out Johnny's number one. I like that.
Yeah. Because I feel like it's where I would actually go or get food from the most. So yeah, I'm excited.
With all these football games coming up, I think we might want to. I think I might tell Bridget we want Johnny's this weekend. So we'll see what happens. So
calling tonight. No, I don't. Wait, did they already open or?
They're opened. Yeah,
they're
they're open. So
Great.
it's so tough ordering from there though because they run out of pizza constantly.
Oh.
I mean, it's because they're doing well. Well, you used to live down the street from Angela's. It's really no different. I think they're very similar. The difference is there's no like pizza review from Dave Portnoy, but it's the same kind of place. I mean, like, and then everyone says the cheesesteak's better at Angelo's than the pizza. And I would argue that's probably the case with Johnny's too.
I think that I'm going to get food from there tomorrow. I already have dinner planned for tonight. Tomorrow, it's on. I'm going to start calling first thing in the morning.
Well, it's probably easier on a Wednesday than this was like Saturday night, like the Saturday before Halloween when we ordered this, and it was people were like shocked we got it, and I looked like a hero going to this party, so that was great. Best. All right, so the other thing we want to talk about here, and I think so. You were just down the shore for New Year's Eve. We were talking about that beforehand, and I ran into this on New Year's Eve. My son wanted to go see the Stranger Things finale, and the only theater it was playing at was in Warrington, so we had to take the turnpike there on January 4th. So it already happened. The AC Expressway is going to stop accepting cash at its tolls, and without an Easy Pass, you're going to get billed double the fare per trip.
Oh.
So you basically got to get an Easy Pass if you want to go down the shore. What do you think about this? Because I mean, this is that's a pretty big statement. I mean, obviously, I think Easy Pass is like it's obviously like great having it. I think it, but what do you think about this?
So I've had an Easy Pass for I don't know, like 15 years or something. I want to say. So I haven't really like paid attention to, what the cash lanes are like. There weren't still people in booths, were there? Or were there?
There's still people in booth. Yeah, there were. Yeah. I mean, this year, going down the shore, there was definitely people that I thought I lost my Easy Pass one time.
Yeah.
And it was just in my car and I couldn't find it.
Well, I guess there would have to be because people, it's not like it's just, I'm remembering from when I was younger, like the coins that you would get the ticket or the coins that you would like throw into that sticky thing to catch them. And then you like just keep going through. It's not like it's really being like counted exactly. I don't know. So yeah, I guess if you're like dollar bills, like there would be people in toll. So, I mean, I feel like it'll move things along faster. I feel like if you're from the area and you regularly use those roads, it'll be fine. I think where it'll be more of a thing would be, if you're like in town visiting or if you're like not from around here, if you like don't normally drive on those. And then I don't know, I mean, like what's the cost? They're mailing these out. I mean, what does it cost to mail that? Or do they not have to pay to mail it?
Well, I'd imagine they have to pay something. Right. I mean, a stamp's like 75 cents now.
Oh, I know. I like just got a bunch of stamps and like they told me like the cost of them. And I was like, oh my God.
It is expensive.
Stamps.
I didn't think I was going to mail to someone in our office. And I just said, forget it. I'm going to bring it in when I see you guys after the new year.
Yeah. Hand deliver. So I don't know. I mean, I guess like if you were kind of borderline of like, should I get an Easy Pass or shouldn't I get an Easy Pass? Like this might push because like getting the Easy Pass doesn't cost you anything.
It doesn't. You just got to load it up.
You just have to set up the account.
It is much more convenient. And obviously when you have the lanes where you don't have to like go through the individual, right. You can go through the larger lane where you don't really have to stop. I think that's a plus.
Yeah.
So here's how they're going to build this. And they also jump tolls up by 3%. There's a 100% surcharge, a $1 invoice fee. So it's going to be, instead of $6.30, it's going to be $13.60 per trip.
Wow.
So it sounds like it's worth getting an Easy Pass. The toll by plate bills, because they're going to take a picture of your license plate and send a bill. They're going to be issued 30 days after the license plate was photographed on the expressway or once $50 in tolls are recorded, whichever happens first. There's a $5 late fee if the bill's not paid within 30 days of receiving it. If that penalty isn't paid in the following 30 days, there's another $50 fee, and the driver will get their information sent to a collection agency, and you could have your vehicle registration suspended. So they're not messing around here in Jersey. And I know
like
that
this is going to turn into one of those like scam things, though, where you start getting text messages that are like, you have a toll that is unpaid, blah, blah, blah. And like, I know that this will be real, but I feel like it's going to open up a whole,
I know what you're talking about.
whole window of scams.
So my son actually gets these scam text messages already.
I get them too.
Like he does. It's very strange he gets them because he has and it's like, hey, you haven't paid your Easy Pass bill or whatever. And with something like this, it kind of reminds me of the Real ID where you got and everyone rushed to get it, and then
I still don't have
but then they extended it and it was fine. Like I had to take a flight somewhere. I had to spend a whole day on a Friday at the King of Prussia DMV. It was miserable. And then they're like, oh, just kidding, we're going to extend it. Now, this they're not going to extend because people are just going to drive. They're just going to start sending these things out. If you want to travel somewhere, I think you just got to get an Easy Pass at this point. I mean, very few people still use cash anymore. I mean, cash isn't what it, when I was a kid, nobody had Easy Pass. Now it's much more common. So just be aware of this if you're going down the shore. I think, when it's really going to kick in, you're going to see a lot of tickets like Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
That's when a lot of people are going to you probably not be too happy with what's happening with some of these things here. So,
and then is it with that, you just, once it hits a certain low balance in your Easy Pass account, it just auto charges you more, or I guess maybe you can set controls for how that works.
Yeah, I think it's usually when it's just below $25, it'll re-up it. Because I handle all the billing for our family, so this is how I know all this stuff.
Yeah, my husband got me the Easy Pass, I don't know, 15 years ago, and was like, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Well, you'll get tickets. That's nice. Yeah.
Good.
It does make it a lot easier. Especially when you're in. I've been in those, and especially the Jersey Shore. You see the people just lined up, and on a Saturday or something like that. But then you can just drive right through. That's 15 minutes of your life you're getting back. So. Yeah. It does make it a bit easier. It's also a lot safer, I think, than trying to get into those lanes because people drive like maniacs all the time. Yeah. So that's a really great point. So the last thing we got here, Sarah, we got some new listings coming to the market, and we've also got an open house or two happening. So let's pull this up here. And then we'll kind of wrap it up. But it's great to have you. Is it feeling good being back on the radio? I know the listeners probably all missed you, Sarah. What's it been like? The past 3 months. Are you glad to be doing normal things again, or?
Yeah. No, I think it's timing wise worked out well. I feel for when I was off, and then got to kind of enjoy the holidays. I was still working a bit. Especially early
sold 3 houses in the fourth quarter. Let's call it what it is. Most people don't sell 3 houses all year, so that's incredible.
But yeah, no, it feels good it feels like it's time to get back out there and get back to a normal schedule. So yeah, I'm ready to go.
Well, that's I think that's a good way to look at it. The timing. You can never plan when you're going to have a baby,
right?
But I think it is good to kind of be able to wind down there. We had kids in October, which is very similar to your son. Mm-hmm. That was. I took off a week, so what am I? What do I know? But then we had one in June. That was tough.
Yeah,
Gina was because it was the summertime, and we've got this other kid running around, and it's hot out, and you want to go outside. And then we had a January. Our youngest is her birthday's on Saturday, and that one wasn't too bad, but because we also kind of knew what to do.
Right.
We also had to take care, but it's I think that it's easier when it's not high because you're in your house more. I think it does make it a little easier with these newborns. So
right. Well, and then even just for business wise, I feel there's. I did still have some stuff going on there in the fourth quarter, and I think initially right after having probably the first month after I had him, I was not constantly working, but there there's loose ends to tie up. There's still stuff that's going on, and then. Kind of led into the holidays and worked out well. Now 2026.
Onward and upward. So right. We got one new listing hitting the market this week. David Archer's handling this. This is in Jersey. So if you want to take a look at it, we'll connect you with David. The property is at 225 Rutland Ave in Mount Holly. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,981 square feet. And it's they're going to be asking $4.25 for the place. Showings are going to start on Friday. So I mean, I don't know where you're getting a house. It's a single family home for 4.25 right now. That's that size. That looks like a pretty good value if you're thinking about moving across the river over to Jersey. We also have an open house at 7. Oh, I get the wrong address. I'm a little out of practice here, Sarah, because we didn't have a lot of open houses over the holidays. 711 Poplar Street, 12 to 2. And that's on Saturday. This is a property down in Glen Olden, priced at $244,000. Great opportunity. And then we've also got a home. It's on Montgomery Avenue. It's a 2-bedroom condo. Price just got adjusted to $225,000. You want a private tour for that? You can click on the link. Sarah can get you in there. And we've got a ton of new listings coming to the market in the first quarter here, so make sure to pay attention to the show. We're prepping them. We're taking photos. We're doing all the things. We'll have it all ready to rock and roll here for you in 2026. If you want to follow Sarah, she's at Ty_Ty Time on Instagram. You can follow me at Tom Toole 3RD, and we'll be back next week on Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.